What if I told you being smart with money has almost nothing to do with how smart you are? Not your IQ, not your education, not even your income. Because the truth is, money isn't a math problem. It's a behavior problem. And today, I'm going to walk you through 7 powerful lessons from the psychology of money that can completely change how you think about wealth and how you build it. Stay with me because one of these lessons might be the difference between struggling financially and achieving true financial freedom. Let's start with something most people get completely wrong. Wealth is invisible. When you see someone driving a luxury car, wearing expensive clothes, or living in a big house, it's easy to assume they're wealthy. But in reality, what you're seeing is spending, not wealth. Wealth is what you don't see. It's the money saved, invested, and quietly growing in the background. It's the financial security that doesn't need to be shown off. And here's where many people fall into a trap. They try to look rich instead of becoming rich. They spend money to impress others, often at the cost of their future. But true financial freedom comes from what you keep, not what you display. If you want to build wealth, you have to shift your mindset. Stop asking, how can I look successful? And start asking, how can I become financially secure? Now here's something even more surprising. You don't need to be a financial genius to build wealth. You don't need complex strategies or perfect timing or insider knowledge. You just need good behavior. Because money decisions are rarely logical. They're emotional. Fear makes people panic and sell investments when the market drops. Greed makes people chase trends and invest at the worst possible time. And even the smartest people in the world fall into these traps. So the real advantage isn't intelligence, it's discipline. It's the ability to stay calm when others are panicking and stay patient when others are chasing quick wins. Because in the long run, behavior beats knowledge. Now let's talk about the most powerful force in building wealth: time. Not timing the market, not finding the perfect investment, just time. The longer your money stays invested, the more it grows. And this growth isn't linear, it's exponential. It builds slowly at first, almost unnoticeable, but over time it accelerates in a way that can completely transform your financial life. This is the power of compounding. And the biggest mistake people make? They underestimate it. They start too late, or they stop too early, or they try to chase faster results instead of letting time do its job. But if you can master one thing, start early, stay consistent, and be patient. Because time can do what effort alone never could. Now here's another critical lesson. Making money is one skill. Keeping money is another. Many people experience financial success at some point in their lives, but far fewer are able to maintain it. Because staying rich requires a completely different mindset. It requires humility, understanding that you don't know everything. It requires discipline, avoiding unnecessary risks. And it requires a focus on survival. Because if you lose everything, you're forced to start over. And starting over is always harder than continuing forward. So instead of chasing maximum returns, focus on protecting what you already have. Because the goal isn't just to get rich, it's to stay rich. Now let's be honest about something most people don't like to admit. Luck and risk play a bigger role in success than we think. Sometimes people succeed not just because they're smart, but because they were in the right place at the right time. And sometimes people fail despite doing everything right because of factors outside their control. But we often ignore this. We look at successful people and assume we should copy everything they did. And we look at failures and assume they made mistakes. But the truth is, outcomes don't always tell the full story. That's why it's so important to focus on your process. Make good decisions. Be consistent, manage risk, and accept that not everything will go perfectly. Because long-term success isn't about avoiding uncertainty, it's about surviving it. Now here's one of the most powerful and overlooked ideas: knowing when you have enough. In a world that constantly pushes you to want more, this is incredibly difficult. More money, more success, more status. But chasing more without limits can actually make you poorer, because it pushes you to take unnecessary risks, to sacrifice what you already have for something you might not even need. True wealth isn't about having the most, it's about having enough and being content with it. It's about having control over your time, peace of mind, and the freedom to live life on your own terms. So ask yourself, what does enough look like for you? Because once you define that, you gain clarity, and clarity leads to better decisions. Now let's talk about uncertainty, because whether we like it or not, the future is unpredictable. Markets will rise and fall, opportunities will come and go, mistakes will happen, and that's normal. The goal isn't to predict the future perfectly, it's to prepare for it. Build a strategy that can handle uncertainty. Have a margin of safety. Avoid putting yourself in a position where one mistake can wipe you out, because resilience is more important than perfection. And the people who succeed long-term aren't the ones who avoid mistakes, they're the ones who survive them. At the end of the day, money isn't about luxury. It's not about showing off. It's about freedom. The freedom to choose how you spend your time. The freedom to say no to things you don't want. The freedom to focus on what truly matters. And one of the simplest ways to build that freedom is to save more than you think you need. Not just for a specific goal, but for flexibility. Because when you have savings, you have options. And when you have options, you have control. Now here's something simple but incredibly powerful. Consistency beats intensity. You don't need to make one big, perfect decision. You don't need to get everything right. You just need to do the right things consistently. Save regularly. Invest regularly. Avoid unnecessary risks. And over time, those small actions compound into something massive. That's how real wealth is built. Not overnight, but over years of steady, disciplined behavior. And one thing that can easily destroy that progress is comparison. Comparing yourself to others is one of the fastest ways to make poor financial decisions, because you're comparing your reality to someone else's highlight reel. You don't see their debt. You don't see their stress. You don't see the risks they're taking. So instead of focusing on others, focus on your own journey, your goals, your values. Because personal finance is personal. There's no universal formula. The best strategy is the one that works for you, the one that you can stick to even when things get difficult. And finally, always leave room for error, because life is unpredictable. Unexpected expenses will happen. Plans will change. Things won't always go as expected. So give yourself a margin of safety, an emergency fund, low financial pressure, flexibility, because that buffer is what keeps you in the game. And in finance, staying in the game is everything. So here's what it all comes down to. Wealth is invisible. Behavior matters more than intelligence. Time is your greatest advantage, and consistency is the key to everything. If you can understand these ideas and apply them, you won't just earn money, you'll build lasting wealth. And more importantly, you'll build a life with freedom, security, and peace of mind. If you found this helpful, hit like, subscribe, and join Smart Money and Finance Guide, because your financial future starts with what you learn today.